uh you came for this session, do you actually know what you want to get from this session? What are we doing today? All right. So let me just quickly show you what we are going to be doing and what today is going to look like. Right. So today is going to be practical. Okay. We are not just doing theory, we're also doing practical, but we are not doing any coding. Okay. So don't worry about that. So, but we are just doing 4 simple things. Right. So the first thing is you are going to build an automated report using Power BI. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to show you how businesses create reports that update themselves automatically. So no daily copying, no Excel issues, no Excel challenge, no Excel stress, no starting from scratch every morning. Once your data comes in, the report updates automatically. That's automation. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you using Power BI today. And then next, we are also going to, I'm going to show you how you can get started immediately. So I'm going to show you how someone with zero knowledge, someone that doesn't really have that technical background, can actually start learning these skills properly, okay, without feeling confusion or without being overwhelmed. And then next thing we're also going to talk about is the Analytics Growth Internship Program. And then finally, we're also going to be looking at our special discount offer for you. Okay, because you showed up today, we are going to be sharing a special offer at the end for those who want to take this further. All right. So now that we have known what we are going to be doing, now let's start with something that is very practical, and let's see how businesses actually operate on a daily basis, okay? And why annual reporting sometimes can become a problem as businesses grow. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, before we get started, I want to ask you guys, I want to have your inputs, okay? So now let me know, if you are running a small shop or a business, how do you know that you're actually doing well? Go to the comment section and tell me, if you are running a small shop or a business or a small business that you are running, how do you know if you are doing well? How do you know if you are doing well? How do you know if you are doing well? If you are running a small shop or business, how do you know if you are doing well? Let me know. How do you know if you are doing well? Okay, some people might say maybe money, or maybe sales, or maybe making more profits, or maybe opening so many branches and all that. You all are very, very correct. Okay, so you know how you're doing well, maybe based on how much money you have been able to gather, or maybe your sales or profits. Okay, and now this could be maybe you working alone in your organization, or maybe you working, or you have your own business that you run, or you have someone that you're paying, or you have someone that is under you, an employer. Okay, now imagine that you have more than one employer. Imagine that you have more than one employer, like you have like 10 or 20 employers that are under you. Now ask yourself, how do you know who is helping the business? Which employee is helping the business and who is not? Okay. Between these employees that you have, as your business grows and you have more and more employees, how do you know who is actually helping your business? And that is where the challenge comes in. Okay. That is where the challenge comes in, because most people, they don't struggle because they don't work hard. Actually, they struggle because they can't see what is really happening in their business, right? They can't see what is happening in their business. So when businesses are small, when businesses are just at the budding stage, it's very easy to see what is going on. I mean, take for example, like me now, if I have a small business that I'm running, after the day's job, I can be able to count how many sales I've made. I can even be able to know how much money came in. I can be able to tell you what I have sold that day. So it's easy to keep track of your small businesses when it is just small. Okay, you can remember things in your head, you can remember what is going on. But then as things grow, as businesses grow, as you start employing new people, as you start growing, you start expanding to so many branches and all that, it is going to be now difficult to track. Okay, that is where the real problem begins. It is going to what? Be difficult to track. Okay, it is going to be very, very difficult to track. And that brings us to this next slide, the business reality. Okay, the business reality. So as organizations grow, performance or reporting becomes more complex, right? So what worked before as a small scale begins to fail when data is spread across multiple files, when reporting is done manually, or maybe when performance is not even reviewed in real time, right? So now let me use a scenario to explain this. Now, take for example, you work as an admin officer in an organization, and your boss or your manager tells you, hey, I want to see the sales that happened last month. So what do? Obviously, you go back to your Excel or maybe any tool that you use for reporting. You collect data from so many places. You do your calculations. You build your charts if you have to. You just do the report and then send. Now, this reporting is going to take like 2 or 3 days because you can't be able to do everything all in the same day. So it can take 2 days, it can take 3 days. Now, those 2 to 3 days, it shows that your reporting is slow. Your reporting is what? Your reporting is slow. Okay. So now take, for example, now your manager also asks you, okay, can we see what happened last week? Or can we see which department actually performed very, very well last week? What do? You go back again to that same Excel. So you see, the manual reporting and the manual work is a lot. It's a very, 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 very big deal to be doing all this, going back and forth every time. And now, imagine you also have to be building this report every month. You have to be doing this every month. January, you do the same thing. February, you do the same thing. March, you do the same thing, and so on and so forth. So that is where the real challenge comes in, okay? So all these things are what reporting manually actually means. And today we are going to see how we can eliminate all these manual reporting, how we can automate our performance reports using Power BI, okay? So there's another issue here, which is also performance is not reviewed in real time. And then the common challenges here include no single source of truth, inconsistent numbers across reports, and delayed insights for decision making. Because as you are taking time to upload or to send in your reports, it is delaying insight that is very much needed for decision making. Take, for example, now, some organizations do this reporting every month. So let's say at the end of the month, you do a report on what happened that last month. Okay, so some organizations do this at the end of every month. Now, at the end of every month, what the organization or what the company sees is who performed well, how the sales have been, and all that. But what they are not seeing is what happened in between those months. Your week 1, your week 2, your week 3, you don't see what is happening then. At the end of the month, you just dish out a report, but you can't be able to track what happened day to day so that you can be able to be proactive in making decisions and in also fixing and understanding, spotting issues or risks very, very early. So all these things are challenges that organizations face. So this creates a gap between what is happening and what leaders can see, right? So, and that is not what leaders want to see, really. What leaders want to see, they want to see clarity, right? They want to see what? They want to see clarity. They want to be able to look at the dashboard and see what is happening right now. They want to see what is happening right now. They want to be able to be clear on what is going on, okay? So specifically, decision makers want to know, are we doing well? Are we growing profitably? Which departments are meeting expectations? Are employees becoming more productive over time? And where are risks or inefficiencies emerging? Can this information be trusted and updated automatically? So all these things are what the leadership wants to know. But without automated reporting, these questions are answered late or even not at all. Okay, so this is what this challenge is all about, right? So without reporting, this issue is sometimes they're not even addressed. Okay, so now let me show you a simple example of a growing business that is facing this exact situation. Okay, so that brings me to the next slide. So Nova Retail Group, this is a particular case study of a business that is facing this particular issue. Okay, so Nova Retail Group is a growing retail company with multiple departments and an expanding workforce. So over the last few months, the management has seen an increase in sales driven by aggressive growth and team expansion. But however, leadership lacks clear visibility into how this growth is performing beneath the surface. Okay, so reports are currently created manually in Excel, making it difficult to understand and consistently track daily performance, department contribution, as well as employee productivity and profitability. So as the business scales, as the business grows, management needs a single automated reporting solution to answer critical questions such as, are we growing profitably? Are departments meeting their performance expectations? And is growing headcount actually improving productivity? Where are inefficiencies starting to appear? So all these things are what the organizations want to see, or the questions that organizations want to answer. So to address this, the company wants to implement an automated Power BI dashboard that combines financial and employee performance data in one clear executive view. All right. They want to implement an automated Power BI dashboard that combines all this data in one clear executive view. Okay, so what is the aim of what we want to do? So the aim of what we want to do here is to build a fully automated Power BI dashboard that enables management to monitor financial performance, workforce, efficiency, and departmental accountability on a daily basis. Okay, so specifically, the dashboard is designed to, first of all, track sales, profits, and profit margin over time, monitor department margin and performance against strategic targets, evaluate employee attrition and productivity, identify trends in efficiency and profitability as the business grows, as well as eliminate manual reporting by automatically updating insights when new data is added. So by the end of this particular session, by the end of this project, the decision makers will be able to quickly identify performance gaps, assess whether growth is sustainable, and then make data-driven operational decisions. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So this is where you get the data set of what we are going to be doing today. Now, to get the data set, the recorded video, as well as every other thing that you need for this particular session, I believe my colleague has dropped in the link to follow. So follow through that link and you are going to have access to all the materials, all the data sets, and even the recording that you're going to be using for this session. Okay, so go to the comment section. You are going to see the link. Click on the link, follow through, and do everything that is. Just follow through everything, and then you are going to be sent these materials, this recording, and even this data set that you're going to be using today. All right. So let's move into the next slide. Now, by the end of this particular session, we are going to convert this particular data set that we have here. So this data set is just what we have in our organization. So we are going to convert it into this particular dashboard, right? So we're going to convert this. You are going to move it from just a spreadsheet, from just words and numbers, from just something that you can just see and not even know what is going on in your organization. We're going to move it and convert it into this very, very well defined and very, very well executed dashboard using Power BI, right? So just a brief introduction to Power BI. Power BI is a business intelligence tool that helps us to connect to different data sources, clean, transform our data, and most importantly, visualize it for stakeholders, visualize it for managers, visualize it for leadership. All right. So that is what we are going to be doing today. Okay, so now we are going to move into Power BI. Now, when you want to get this, your Power BI, you can get it from Microsoft Store, you can get it from their website, from Microsoft's website, and you can also get it from the App Store, okay? So Power BI is owned by Microsoft and it is accessible from any platform that you find yourself in. Okay, so now we are going to be moving to Power BI and let's build this bad boy here, all right? We are going to be moving to Power BI to see how we can get this done. Okay, so this is my Power BI. So when you open your Power BI for the first time, you are going to be somewhere here. You are going to be somewhere here. You are going to see all these things. So just click on blank report and you are going to be brought to this place. Okay, so but before I go ahead and do this, let me show you how the data set looks like. The data set that we're going to be working with, right? So when you click on that link, when you click on the link from the slide that I showed you, you are going to be brought to this place, right? And here you are going to have a look at the data set. You are going to have two data sets here. This is the new version, and then this is the main one that you're going to be working with, this particular one. So let me show you that. So this is the particular one that I'm going to be working with. You can see the date, the department, employee ID, employee name, cost, as well as actual sales. And then you can see that the day starts from 1st of January to the 19th of February. So till today, okay? So from the 1st of January till today, that is what the data contains, okay? So this is what you're going to be working with for now. Later on, I'm going to show you what you're going to be using this other one to do, okay? So, but this is how the data looks like. So what you're going to do when you get here is you want to download these two data sets, okay? So download it on your computer. So click on this and then download it. Click on this also and also download it. So when you download it, it is going to be on your computer. So we can now move into Power BI and connect to this particular data set that we downloaded, right? So the next thing we want to do now is to connect to this data set, right? You want to connect to it. You want to start working with it, okay? So the next thing we want to do is come under this Home tab. Come under this Home tab, you go to Get Data. You go to what? Get Data. You go to Get Data, click on it, and then you are going to give it a little bit of time to load in. So when you click on Get Data, of course, the data is an Excel workbook, okay? The data is an Excel workbook. So select Excel workbook and then click on Connect, okay? So now you have the opportunity to now go to where the particular Excel that you downloaded is, okay? So this is the Excel that I downloaded, the Nova Retail Group. So you select it and then click Open. Okay, so you select it and then click Open. Okay, so let me just close it from here. Let me just close it from here. And then let's do it again. So select it and then click Open. And then just give it a moment. It's going to load in and then give you a preview of the data. Okay, so now you click on this particular sales sheet to see the preview. And when you click on it, you can now see all the data that I just showed you. They are here on Power BI. Okay, so this is it. This looks like the data that we have. So what we are now going to do is select it. So tick it here, and then you're going to load it, right? So we want to load it. The data is clean already, so we don't need much transformation here. So we're just going to load it directly. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this load and then wait for it to load, right? So click on this load and then wait for it to load in your Power BI. Okay, so while it's loading, please make sure to go to the comment section and fill in your details, fill in, follow through the link that has been dropped on the comment section, and let's make sure that we access the link and we follow through it, and we are going to have an amazing session. Okay, so the data is fully loaded. I think, yeah, the data is fully loaded now. So at this right-hand side, we're going to see that the data is fully loaded. So I can come to this left-hand side. You see the report view. I go to the table view. Let me see the table. So I click on it and then give it a moment to load. And then you can see we have all these details that we've seen before. They are now fully in our Power BI. Okay, so they are now fully in our Power BI. Okay, so of course, the date column represents the date that the sales was made. The department column represents the departments that are making the sales. The employee ID and employee name, they are all the employees that are making the sales, as well as the costs. And then the cost column is just the total amount that we've incurred into making our sales happen. And then you also have the actual sale, which is like the revenue. Okay, so this is what the data is all about. So the next thing we want to do now is to start doing some calculations, because there are some things that we also need to calculate here, and to be able to have a very good overview of what this data is all about. Okay, so we have the date, we have the department, we have the employee ID. We want to see how many employees that we have in this particular data set. Okay, you can see the data set is very large. You can see it. If I scroll down, you can see. So we want to see how many employees that we have here. Okay, so that is very, very simple. You come over here to this right-hand side where you have the sales sheet. Okay, so you right-click. What I'm going to do now is to create a calculation, or to create a measure that is going to do all these calculations for me. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here to this right-hand side. I right-click, and then I click on New Measure. So this measure is like a calculation, right? It's just more like you want to do a calculation on the fly on Power BI. So you click on New Measure, and on this new measure now, I'm going to, remember, I want to see the total employees that we have. So I want to count how many employees that we have. So I can just say total, I can give this measure a name. So total employees is equals to, then I can now start writing the formulas. Okay, so to count these unique employees, we are going to use distinct count. Okay, so I start writing distinct count, and then you can see it here, distinct count. Okay, so you can click on it, or you can just hit the tab key. So click on it, and then you can see distinct count. And I want to count what? My employee. So I want to write in employee. So employee ID, okay, I hit tab key, and then I close the bracket and hit enter. Okay, so when I do this, look at the right-hand side, you can now see that this calculation has been calculated. You might not see it here, but you're going to see it here, because this is a measure. We are calculating it on the fly. Okay, so I'm going to show you how all these things look when we start building our dashboard. So don't worry about it. Okay, I'm going to show you how all these things look when we start building our reports. Okay, so we've seen the total employees. Let's also calculate something else. Let's also say, okay, let's also calculate the total cost that we've incurred into making all this revenue. Okay, so I want to get the total cost. Okay, so just like I did before, I click on this, right-click on it, and click on New Measure. So I'm just going to add in another one. So total cost is equals to, because I want to sum up all the costs, so I just write in the sum. So sum of our costs. So the costs allocated, sum of the costs, and then close the bracket and hit enter. And then give it a moment, you can see it is written here. Okay, so we are making progress. So let's keep on doing the calculations. We've seen the cost. Let's also calculate the revenue, the actual sales that we've made. Okay, So these are the money, this is the money that is coming in. This is the money that is coming in for us. Okay, so we want to calculate the revenue. So I'm also going to do the same thing. So right-click the sales sheet and new measure. Right-click the sales sheet and go to new measure. Of course, I can say revenue, or let's say total revenue. So total revenue is equals to, so the sum again, because I'm summing everything up, okay? So the sum of what? Our actual sales. The sum of our actual sales. I select, have it here, okay? I have it here. Okay, so we've calculated total cost, we've calculated total employees, we've calculated total revenue. I mean, we've calculated the amount of money that went out. We've calculated the amount of money that came. We've removed everything, the profits, our own money, okay, the real profit that we have, okay. Let's also calculate that, okay. So I do the same thing. I right click again, and then I also do total profit. So total profit this time around, the actual sales minus the cost, okay? So the cost is the amount of money that you use to get your sales. Then the revenue is the amount of money that is coming in, okay? So when you subtract what? Your profits, the money that is left after you've done all the expenses, after you've removed everything, the money that is left with you, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing now. So the total profit is the total revenue minus the cost. So I go over here and write in total revenue, the one that we've calculated already. So I just use the arrow key to move down. Select total revenue minus what? The cost. So total cost. So I select total cost and then I hit enter.
Hi, everyone. So let's just give my colleague a few more minutes to get back in. I believe he's having some issues, but if you are enjoying the session so far, I want you to put your favorite emoji in the chat. And who knows, I'll probably be calling on somebody to, just speak to me. So if you're enjoying the session so far, put an emoji in the chat. I would like to see the people that are at least gaining something from, everything Stanley has been saying. So it's going to be back shortly to walk us through how to continue to create the reports. But I want to see some reactions in the chats. Lauren Toba, thank you so much. I'm sure Stanley would appreciate that. Anyone else? Thank you, Adiola. Thank you, Mohammed. I see more than 3 people on this session right now. So I want to see reactions in the chat. Now, today, I mean, we're looking at how you can, rate your employees' performance as well as your financial performance as an organization. So what that brings us to is financial analytics as well as, HR analytics as well. So what I will be doing right now is I will share my screen. Okay, while we wait for Stanley to come back. I know we're interested in the dashboard, but Stanley will be back shortly. While we wait for that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then we just talk about how to get started. All right, how exactly do you get started? Once I'm done, not to worry, Stanley will come back and, continue to walk you through the entire process. All right. So I see a comment in the chat. Let's see. Olorun Toba says, please tell him to retake total costs. retake the total cost is talking about. Not to worry, Oloruntoba. Now, for other people on the session that, maybe joined in late, you missed the beginning of the session, my colleagues are going to be dropping a link in the chat. It is very important that you get that link, you fill the attendance form. All right, because that is how, number one, you'll be able to get the data sets that Stanley is using. You'll be able to get the slides that Stanley used, as well as the recording of the session. So it is very important that once you see the attendance link in the chat, it will be dropped again shortly. My colleague Lydia will drop it again. Once you see the attendance link in the chat, make sure to fill the attendance link so you can have access to the data set. And of course, after Stanley walks you through the entire, dashboard and report creation, you are able to do it yourself. But then at least before, Stanley started experiencing, technical issues, he started walking you through how you can move your reports from a spreadsheet to Power BI. How do you connect that? All right. Now, like I said, just hang on with me to the end of the session. Once I am done, Stanley is going to come back and he's going to walk you through the entire thing. So Oloruntoba, if you want him to, retake everything, he's going to do that. Just make sure to stick around till the end of the session. But then how do you get from where you are currently, whether as a finance professional, someone who has a background in accounting, someone who has a background in economics, someone who has a background in finance, how do you get from there to where someone like Stanley is, where you are able to take a spreadsheet and take data from that spreadsheet and use it to generate a report in Power BI? How exactly do you get started? Now, there are three things you need to do today. All right. There are just three things. It's not a lot. There are just three things you need to do today. The very first thing you want to do is you want to learn. Now, there are two in-demand skills we're talking about today. We're talking about the financial analytical skills for people who are, from the finance space. If you're looking to continue working in the finance space, you have a background in economics, you have a background in finance, or you have a background in accounting, right? Then we should be looking at financial analytics for you. Very shortly, I'm going to be explaining the two roles in details. Now, if you're someone who is interested in HR, or you have a background in HR, human resources, it doesn't matter if you have not started, it doesn't matter if you have not started practicing at all. As long as you have a background in HR, okay, you can also get into HR analytics, because what it does for you is that it takes you away from being, the regular HR manager into being someone who is able to gain insights from data. All right. Now, what you want to do is you want to identify the in-demand tech skills that is very personal or particular to you, something that fits you. Is it financial analytics? Is it HR analytics? You want to lock in on just one of them. All right. I'm sure some people on this call would probably want to go for the both of them, but you just want to lock in on one. Just pick one of them and, submit yourself into, just submerge yourself into that, training. Make sure that you are learning every single thing that you need to learn about being a financial analyst or being an HR analyst. Now, the next thing that you want to do is you want to package yourself. I'm going to be talking more about packaging shortly, but when I talk about packaging, I tell people that it is equally as important as learning the skills. It's very fantastic to be able to generate a report, of course. It's very fantastic to be able to clean and analyze your data, clean it, put it on a spreadsheet just like Stanley did, and then you move that report into Power BI, use it to create a dashboard, an interactive dashboard with all your charts. That is very fantastic. It's a wonderful skill to have. But your technical skills are only as great as your employability skills. Your technical skills are only as great as your packaging. I'm going to give you an example. Say you go grocery shopping, you have a very strict budget of about £100 or $100, and you just want to go grocery shopping, you want to buy a couple of things in the house, and you have your grocery list. Now, as you're strolling down the aisle, you see something on the shelves. Now, you don't know what it is, but you see something in a very fancy wrapping or packaging. And then what you just do at that moment is that you slow down, you pause, you pick up the item from the shelf and you take a look at it. Now, you saw the packaging from afar. You did not necessarily know what it was, but it piqued your interest. So you pick it up from the shelf, you take a look at it, even though you know you're on a tight budget. And you're saying, so this is a different type of noodles. And, you go ahead to maybe just skim through and read what is on the packaging. And you say, you know what, maybe the next time I come to the supermarket, I'll buy one to try. All right. That's if you're on a very tight budget. Sometimes some people like myself, all right, will decide to just take one and try it out. Now, what has just happened there is that the packaging has attracted you even before you knew whether what was the content of that packaging was nice, or if it was going to taste good, or what it was exactly. You were attracted by the packaging. Now let's take that away from the supermarket concept and bring it to us. How do you package yourself in such a way, put yourself in such a beautiful, shiny wrapping that even before people know that you have the technical skills, their interest is already piqued. They want to approach you and have a conversation with you, because before people get to know that you have the skills, right, you need to interest them. Now, you could be the best finance professional. You could be the best HR professional. If you do not have employability skills, best believe nobody is going to reach out to you. Nobody is going to approach you. You're going to keep missing opportunities or losing opportunities to people who can package better than yourself. So now, like I said, the first thing you want to learn how to do is, you want to learn or select the in-demand career path, and then, just immerse yourself in that learning. The next thing you want to learn how to do is you want to package yourself, because that is the total package, really. Okay. After packaging yourself, the next thing you want to do is you want to apply to jobs. Now, you want to apply to jobs like a machine, but you want to be very strategic about it. So I tell people job applications is a numbers game, but you also want to be strategic. You don't just want to be spraying your CVs. You take one CV and then you apply to 1,000 jobs and you're waiting for your call back. It doesn't work that way, because there's something called an ATS. All right, the applicant tracking system. And ATS is what recruiters, especially recruiters from global organizations, used to be. So you see, when you see all those job listings on LinkedIn, on Indeed, on Glassdoor, and you go ahead to apply, a lot of times your CV doesn't actually get to the desk of the recruiter. Now, I'm going to explain how the ATS works, for some people who don't know what it is. Like I said earlier, the ATS means applicant tracking system. So, when recruiters put out job ads, there's a possibility that you have over 200 people, over 500 people applying to the jobs. One human being is not going to sit down and go through that CV. It doesn't work that way. What happens is the recruiters use an ATS, which is simply an AI tool, and they program this ATS to look out for specific words. So basically, they're saying, in every CV that is submitted, look out for these words. Look out for the word learn. Look out for the word package. Look out for the word apply. Now, what it means is that if anybody submits a CV that does not have learn, does not have package, does not have apply, fling that CV into the bin. So a lot of us don't understand that the moment you click submit on a job application, there is an AI tool in the back end in less than 2 seconds that flings your resume into the bin. So a recruiter, an actual human being, doesn't even get to see your resume. Again, that's the power of packaging. Now, it could be that you have, years and years of experience. You have 10 years of experience as a finance professional. You have 10 years of experience as an HR professional, and you're wondering why it's hard for you to land a job. I just explained why. All right. And then you get that automated rejection mail. We're sorry to inform you. Let me just break it to you. Nobody actually saw your CV. All right. That is an automated mail that you got. A human being did not actually see that CV. So part of the packaging, you're going to learn how you tailor your CV to fit multiple job roles. All right. We'll teach you how to make your CV ATS friendly. Now, more than teaching you how to make your CV ATS friendly, we are going to make your CV ATS friendly as well for you. But the thing we do here at 10Analytics is we don't just give you fish to eat. All right. We'll also be teaching you how to fish for yourself. So you learn how you can tailor your CV to fit the jobs that you want to apply to, and how you can target a strategic role. All right. A role that is going to earn you a lot of money, a role that is going to afford you flexibility, more time to spend with your family, a role that is going to afford you remote work or hybrid. Maybe you get to go to the office, twice a week. You go to the office 2 times a week, you work from home 3 times a week, or you get a fully remote role. How do you strategically, how do you strategically apply to a role that would give you visa sponsorship? All right. How do you strategically apply to a role or target a role that is very much in high demand and will pay you a lot of money? We're going to be teaching you how to do all of this. Now, if you learn and then you package yourself and then you apply strategically, that is exactly how you will be able to land a job. Now, when my colleague started this session, he mentioned that we have helped over 3,800 professionals, just like yourself, transition not just from what they are currently doing into the classroom, but transition from the classroom into their very first job in tech, whether in HR analytics or in financial analytics. And this is the simple strategy that we use to help these people. All right. Now, I'm going to just be sharing some success stories because we have quite a lot of them. But if we stay on this session and talk about all these success stories, you're probably going to be here for 7 hours. So I'm going to highlight maybe 4 or 5 stories, just so you know that these are people like yourself. These are people who probably have similar backgrounds to you. These are people who have been able to do this. And it just makes it all the more possible for you to do it as well. If these people could do it, why can't you? All right, let's take a look at, Chika, for example. Chika was able to land a full-time role as a financial analyst in the UK. Now, we worked with Chika, to prepare him for his interviews, and we also provided a reference to enable him secure the job. Now, according to Chika, 10Analytics has been a blessing to him, was probably the best thing that ever happened to him. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Again, it is very important that you fill the attendance form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat. The reason for that is very simple. That's the only way we'll be able to send across the slides, all right? The recording of this session, as well as data sets that Stanley is going to be using to walk you through the dashboard. That is the only way you get access to all of these things I mentioned. Now, once you get the slides, all of these testimonials that I'm sharing are linked on the slides. So you can actually click on the links here to watch the videos and listen to these people. You don't have to take my word for it. Look at Solomon, for example. Solomon was an engineering graduate, someone who did not have a finance background at all, and he was able to land a full-time job as a financial analyst with Kegos Group. Look at Grace as well, listen to what she has to say about her experience with 10Analytics and how she was able to, land a job as a financial analyst. Look at Akintayo, who got a job as a chief financial officer after completing our financial analytics program. Of course, all of these different people, we worked with them throughout the entire job application process. All right. So again, it's more than just the technical skills. It's more than just, learning how to use Power BI, learning how to generate a report. We would also be working closely with you to, of course, revamp your CV, teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn. You have mentorship sessions, and we'll be prepping you for interviews. So every single time you land an interview, we're here to prep you for it. We have more success stories on here. We have Victor, who was able to land a job as a financial analyst. And of course, he was able to do this because of all the mentorship sessions that he got, as well as the practical real world, case studies. And this is what made Victor stand out. Now, this is very interesting because I was also going to mention, I speak to a lot of professionals, aspiring professionals like yourself every day. And, sometimes people say, oh, I heard the job market is saturated. I want to get into tech, but I heard it is saturated. I don't know if that is the right path for me. I don't know if tech is for me. Now, I always tell people the fact that a particular job market is saturated, what it just proves to you is evidence that that job is in high demand. Now, we are not here to reinvent the wheel. That's not why we're here. We're not here to do something completely different. Okay? That's not why we're here. If you see that a lot of people are trying to get into financial analytics, a lot of people are trying to get into HR analytics, is because it is a booming market. Now, you should never worry yourself about saturation because the world itself is saturated. Life itself is saturated. All right. If we look at the populations in different countries, countries are always talking about the populations, the amount of births, and so on and so forth. It is saturated, but you never have to worry about that. What you should be asking yourself is, how do I stand out? How do I make it so that, when I apply to a job, I'm a financial analyst, and then I apply to a job with Uchechi. I apply, I'm Uchechi, I apply to a job, as Jeddah. How do I make it so that when recruiters see my CV, when recruiters take a look at Jeddah's CV, Jeddah stands out. When recruiters take a look at Uchechi's CV, Uchechi also stands out. They want to reach out to Uchechi. They want to hear what Uchechi has to say. That is what you should concern yourself with. How do you get from where you are currently to being a professional, a finance professional, an HR professional working with a leading global organization? that is what you want to focus on. How do you make a difference for yourself? Differentiation is very important. We also have Bumi, who, she was able to land a job as a market data analyst while undergoing the financial analytics training program with us. And I'm going to explain how Bumi was able to do this. The financial analytics program is a 2-in-1 program. All right, you're going to be learning the financial aspect, and you're also going to be learning data analytics. Now, what that means is you can also land a job as a data analyst. Same goes for the HR analytics program, but very shortly, I will be explaining all of that to you. All right, we still have wonderful success stories from a lot of people that I would not be able to go into. All right, people who, look at Victor, for example, was able to land a full-time job in Chicago, as a people operations analyst after training with us, on our HR analytics program. And he got the job. I also want to mention that he got the job in the US, working remotely from Nigeria. He did not have to relocate. All right. So he's still in Nigeria and is working for an organization in the US and is earning in dollars. Now, this could also be you. So let's just keep, move through. Maureen also landed a job in Canada, as an HR data analyst. We're just going to scroll past all of this, but make sure that once you get the slides, you're able to take your time, go through these testimonials and go through all of the links. They're all linked on my slide. Again, remember to fill the attendance form. If not, all of the information from this session will be lost. Now, what are the skills that you need to land you a job in 2026? What exactly are those skills that you need? After walking you through the skills, I'm going to call Stanley back up here to also show you end-to-end how to create your report and your dashboard. But what are the skills that you need to have right now, to prepare you for the June-July hiring cycle? Okay, now let's start with the financial analytics program. Who exactly is a financial analyst in the first place? A financial analyst is a type of data analyst who has now decided to niche down into finance, into the financial aspects in an organization. So what that means is if you have a background in finance, like I said earlier, if you have a background in economics, if you have a background in accounting, and even if you don't, but you are interested. And that's the beautiful thing about this program. You don't necessarily have to have a background. All you need to have is the interest. Now, if you have the interest in financial, finance, accounting, economics, maybe you have just thought to yourself, I don't really know maths. This is the program for you. Now, as a financial analyst, you help organizations evaluate their financial data to help them provide insights into their financial performance, as well as to support their decision-making through the finance department. Of course, as the financial analyst, you already know you're working in the money department of the organization. So you are the ones that are able to tell the organization, look, we are not making enough money, or this is where we are spending our money. This is where our money is going to. Our money is going into hiring. We're spending too much money on XYZ. Now, as a financial analyst, you're also able to create projections, financial projections for the organization. What that means, and this is a wonderful skill to have, this is the skill that every organization needs, by the way, every organization is looking for. You're able to tell an organization that, look, this is currently 2026, February 19th of 2026. By February 19th of 2029, this is how much we would have made with a 30% profit margin. This is how much we would have made with a 25%. So you're basically able to tell them how much they will make in the coming years. Of course, this is something that companies want to know, so they know how they are spending their money. So like I said earlier, this is an in-demand career path. It doesn't matter where you're joining from, whether you're joining from the US, whether you're joining from Canada, whether you're joining from Europe, whether you're joining from Africa, whether you're joining from Asia, it does not matter. Because all these organizations, they need financial analysts. Even when it comes to mergers and acquisitions, right? When an organization is trying to acquire another organization, before such a merger or such an acquisition can happen, they also need financial analysts to be able to take a look at the other organization's, financials. So say, for example, the name of my company is ABC Corporation, and then I'm trying to acquire Stanley's company, and it's called Stanley Corp. Right? I'm trying to buy Stanley's company. Now, ABC Corporation trying to buy Stanley's company at maybe $1 billion. It doesn't just happen. We don't just go into a boardroom and say, Stanley, I'm trying to buy your company. Here's the check. It doesn't work like that. Now, what I have to do is I have to get my team of financial analysts to take a look at the financials of Stanley's company. All right. So they can tell me if buying Stanley's company is a good idea. So when my financial analysts go into Stanley's books, his finances, they're able to look at it and tell me, look, Elizabeth, you don't want to buy this company. If you buy this company, you might never make your money back, your $1 billion back. Or they're the ones that would say, Elizabeth, this is a fantastic investment to make. All right. If we go ahead to buy this company, if we spend $1 billion buying this company at a 25% margin by 2028, we will make our $1 billion back and still make profits. Now you see that literally the financial analyst is the person with the final say in such a huge transaction. That is exactly how important financial analysts are. Now, I mentioned earlier that a financial analyst is a type of data analyst. Now, what this means for you is that you're going to be learning everything that a data analyst would learn. Problem-solving techniques, what are the different problem-solving techniques that you can apply when you encounter a problem as it relates with your data? I'm talking about techniques like your Pareto principle, techniques like your DMAIC, all right, like your 5 whys, the root cause analysis. What are the different techniques you can apply when you come across maybe messy data, incomplete data? How do you go ahead to clean this data? Then you'll be learning Excel end to end. Again, it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter if you feel like, oh, I'm not a tech person. I don't know how to use Microsoft Excel. I don't really know my way around the computer. It doesn't matter. Because again, I tell people, 10Analytics is a tech kindergarten class. Now, what that means is we're going to literally take you through the foundation. All right. You get to learn the rudiments, the 1, 2, 3s, and the ABCs of Excel. Right? So we're going to take you from beginner to professional in Excel, from beginner to professional in Power BI, from beginner to professional in SQL. How do you build financial models? We then walk you through your accounting fundamentals, your balance sheet, your income statement. You're able to learn the accounting cycle. How do you differentiate between, an investment and an asset? All of these fantastic things you'll be learning in class. Now, we also made sure to infuse AI into the curriculum, because you agree with me that the world is constantly evolving. Now, we want to make sure that as the world is evolving, you are evolving with it and you are able to stay competitive in the global market. If you're looking to land an international job, if you're looking to land a job in the UK, if you're looking to land a job in the US, if you're looking to land a job in Canada or in Europe, and you don't know how to leverage AI, you don't know how to use AI to your advantage, you are wasting your time. All right. Now we're going to teach you how you can use AI so that tasks that would ordinarily take you 4 days or 5 days to complete, you're able to complete it in 30 minutes or 1 hour. So it makes you more efficient and it makes you better at your job. All right. Now I'm going to also explain the learning structure of our classes, and this also cuts across the HR analytics program as well. Now here at 10Analytics, we have a blended learning approach. What that means is you have a blend of live classes, just like this session we are on right now. You will be listening to someone like Stanley walk you through how to use all of these tools using projects and case studies, etc. Now, the only difference there is that you're able to raise up your hand, and ask a question and say, hi, Stanley, I did not really understand how you did XYZ. Please, can you go back and explain it again? All right. Now you have these live classes. I call them marathon live classes. All right. You have them happen 2 times in a month. So 2 Saturdays out of 4 Saturdays in a month, you have a live class. That's just what it means. 2 Saturdays out of 4 Saturdays in a month, you have a live class where you can join and, you can just speak to your facilitator. You can learn from them. You get to work on projects with your classmates. All right. So just give me a minute. I will just confirm. I want to make sure that I have people that can see my slide. So please give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can see my slide. Don't worry, very shortly, Stanley will be coming back on board. Okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can see my slide. I'm looking in the chat right now. All right, fantastic. Thank you, Uchechi. So we have the live classes, and there are 2 different timings for the live class. We have the We have the morning class, which is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. And we have the evening class, which is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. All right. So you are able to, join any of these classes depending on which is more convenient for you. All right. You can select the morning class or the evening class. Now, outside of this, you also have the self-paced videos. All right, where you get pre-recorded videos of someone like Stanley walking you through how you can also use all of these tools and walking you through how you can use, projects. Now, outside of this, you have an open window Mondays to Fridays. Mondays to Fridays, where you can book a session with your facilitator. So if you miss a live class, by the way, all of these classes are recorded. But if you miss it, and you watch the recording of the session. And then you have some questions for Stanley. Mondays to Friday, we put the power back in your hands. You're able to go to Stanley's calendar and book what we call a drop-in session, a question session with Stanley. If you need extra guidance, if you need someone to hold your hand, you can book a time. You can say, you know what, on Tuesday by 12 p.m., I'm going to be free. So let me book a session with Stanley because there are some things I don't understand. So you have your live classes, 2 Saturdays out of 4 Saturdays in a month. You have your self-paced videos, and then you also have the drop-in sessions Mondays to Fridays. The learning timeline for this program is 8 months. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call Stanley back. I feel like I've taken so much of his time already. So I'll call him back so that he can continue to show us how we can, generate this report, and then I will be back. Hi, Stanley.
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can. I was enjoying the session a little too much. So I'm just going to stop sharing.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that wonderful explanation and everything. I really appreciate. Okay, so sorry for the technical issue. So before the technical issue, we were able to bring in our data from just an Excel, from just our computer into Power BI, and we've been able to calculate some metrics, some KPIs that we also want to look at. We looked at the total cost, which is like the total amount that you put in to make the sales. So I saw in the chat someone asked about the total cost. So you can look at total cost like let's say for example you have a restaurant, okay, and you sell food, okay. So you sell food in a restaurant. Total cost is all the costs that you've incurred to make that food happen. So you go to the market, you buy rice, you buy tomatoes, you buy all these things, you buy ingredients and all that. All those things are your total cost that made that sales happen, okay? So that is what total cost is all about. We looked at total employees, we looked at total profits, and we also looked at the total revenue, okay? So now we are on I think we have calculated the total profits. So the next thing we want to do now is to calculate the profit margin, right? So we want to do what? We want to calculate the profit margin. Okay, so just like I said before, profit margin shows you how efficient you are in making your profit. So how fast you'll be able to turn those sales into profits. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here just like I've done before. I'm just going to right click and then I'm going to click on new measure. Okay, so when I click on new measure, I can now go to profit margin. Okay, so profit margin. So profit margin is normally your profit. So your total profit, the one that you've calculated, divided by your revenue. Okay, so total revenue, the one that we've also calculated. All right. So total profit all over total revenue, and then you hit enter, and you are going to have your profit margin. So we've calculated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we've calculated 5 things that we are also going to look at when we start building our dashboard, right? So now, after doing this, the next thing we want to do now is to start visualizing this and start answering questions, okay? So I go back again to my report view from the left-hand side, and then I have this is where I build my chart. This is where I build everything I'm going to be showing to the stakeholders, right? So now let's go back again to our slide, and then let's see what we want to do. Okay, so first of all, the dashboard is designed to track the total sales, profit, and profit margin over time. Okay, so let's first of all deal with this first one. So we come back again to our Power BI, and the next thing we want to do, okay, before we even do that, I would like to also add a title to our dashboard, right? We want to add a title. So I'm just going to come over here under the Home tab, go to text box, and then I can add in a title. Okay, so for this dashboard, I can call it Nova Sales, Nova Retail Dashboard. Okay, so Nova Retail Dashboard, right? So it's very, very tiny. So I'm just going to expand it, make it to fill this whole place. And I'm just going to highlight everything, all the text that are here, and then I'm going to center it, and then also make it a little bit bigger. So just click on this, make it like 24, and let's see how it looks. Okay, so now you can now see the text box is now looking okay. So the next thing I want to do is to bring in my cards to answer those questions about total sales, profit, and all that, right? So you use your KPI card to show metrics. Okay, so I come over here by this right-hand side, sorry, I can see a whole lot of the different types of visualizations I can use inside here. Okay, but I just want to show my KPIs. Okay, so I'm just going to select this card. So I'm just going to click on it, and then you can see it is now selected. Okay, I can just take it a little bit up here, and then I now start bringing in my all the things that I have calculated. Okay, so I'm just going to bring the total revenue to the values, total profits also just beneath it, just drag it and take it to the values here. You're going to see a yellow marker or a yellow guideline. So just leave it there and you have your total profits. Also, I want to look at my total costs. So I just go beneath and add it. So you can see as I'm adding it, it's adjusting. Everything is just looking very fine. And also I want to look at my profit margin also. So I want to also add it too. And then also my total employees, right? So now I have everything set. Okay, so you can now see from here, just looking at this, you can now see how much we've been able to make in our business. So how much money have come into our business. So for this particular organization, or this retail group organization, they've been able to make 47.27 million. And out of those 47.27 million, 13 million has been in profits. And they've incurred 33 million in costs. And the profit margin is just under 28%. And they have 10 employees working with them. So you just see how this matrix makes it easy for us to see all these things at a glance. Right. So next, we want to also answer this question, this second one. So we want to monitor the department margin and performance against strategic targets. Okay. We want to monitor what? Department margin and performance against strategic targets. Right. So here we just want to see the different departmental performance when it comes to the profit margin, as well as their performance against strategic targets. So this particular organization, they've given this department a 10 million targets to reach. So they want to see how they've been able to perform and as well as how their profit margin has been. Okay, so I come back again to my Power BI. I want to calculate, first of all, let's calculate the profit margin for each department. So I just build in a normal chart, just a column chart. So I come over here on this first row, I select this clustered column chart. Okay, so I click on it and it comes up. So next thing I want to do now is I want to see the department based on the different profit margin. So right here by the right-hand side, you can see a selected column that we have. So I'm just going to drag in the department to the x-axis. You can see it here. I've dragged it in. Then the next thing I want to do is to drag in the profit margin to the y-axis. And then you have your chart. Okay, I can just bring it, make it a little bit, make it look better a little bit. Okay, so make it look better. I can bring it here. Okay, so let me make it shorter. Okay, something like this is okay, right? Something like this is okay. or let me just bring it here. So just style it how you want to keep it, okay? So now I've calculated the profit margin by department. Also, I want to see how they've been able to perform across their targets, okay? So they are given a target of 10 million. So I want to see how they've been able to perform across these targets to see departments that are doing well and also departments that are not doing well, okay? So I'm just going to bring in that same column chart again, right? So bring in the same clustered column charts. And then I also bring in the department with the x-axis. And then this time around, I'm now bringing the total revenue, okay? So I'm bringing the total revenue now to the y-axis, okay? So you have it here. I can just style it a little bit. Give me a moment to style it a little bit better. I can bring it here. Okay, so let me just take this here and bring this here, right? So this is the total sales, total revenue by department. But remember, we have a target that we are looking at for these departments, okay? So we want to see which departments have crossed their 10 million target and which departments have not crossed their 10 million target, okay? So all you need to do about this is click on this, click on the chart, make sure the chart is selected. Then on the right-hand side there, you are going to see the analysis icon, okay? So this is where you also do your further analysis. So click on it and then select this y-axis constant line because you want to have a line here that shows who is doing well and who is not doing well. Okay, so click on it and then you add a line. So this line now, I can name it anything. Let me name it target. Let's say sales target. Sales target, right? So now here you put in the value. The value is 10 million, so I can just bring in 10 million, right? So I brought in my 10 million. And immediately, when you go back to this chart, you are going to see there is a dotted line that you can see in your charts, okay? Let me make it more obvious. Let me change the color to something like this, okay? And let me increase the width a little bit so it becomes thicker. And here, you can now see there is a dotted line that is across this chart. This dotted line now shows you who is performing above and who is performing below. So here, you can already see, you can start, if you are looking at this chart and if you are attentive, you can start seeing so many things that are very, very insightful here. Sales are performing way above the target, okay? They are performing way above the target, up to 26 million in sales. But now, when you look at the profit margin, they are the least when it comes to profit margin. So even though they are even getting more sales, they are not actually being efficient with their sales. So all these things are insights that you can see from your data. And look at marketing. Marketing has the highest profit margin, even though they are not the highest when it comes to sales. Okay, so now let's keep on moving forward. Let's keep on answering some other questions. So the next thing we want to do is we want to evaluate the employee attrition, the employee contribution and productivity. All right, so here we just want to see how the employees are contributing to our revenue as well as how productive they've been. Okay, so you can also see that a target of 3 million has been given for each employees. Okay, so a target of 3 million has been given to each employees, and we want to see how these employees are performing, how much they are bringing to the table, and as well as whether they are crossing this 3 million target or not. Okay, so just like before, we go back again to our Power BI, and this time around, I'm going to bring in let me make this a little bit smaller. So it's going to fit in what I want to do. So I'm going to bring in a bar chart, right? So I'm just going to select this clustered bar chart, okay? I'm just going to select it, is here. And then the next I want to now do, I want to see the employees and how they are performing in how much they are bringing into the table. So I'm now bringing the employee name here. So I drag the employee name and put it on the y-axis, right? I draw the employee name and put it on the y-axis. And then the next thing I want to do is to bring in the total revenue. so that Power BI can be able to differentiate this revenue and segment its revenue based on the contribution from each of these employees. Okay, so I bring the total revenue to the x-axis, and here you can now see how it is demarcated. But now let me shape this to look better. Okay, so now we can now be able to see this properly. You can now see how each employee is contributing to the sales. From here, you can see who is making the highest as well as who is making the least. Also, adding to this, we also want to see which employees has crossed the 3 million target and who has not crossed the 3 million targets, right? So just like we did before here, we click on this and then go to the analysis session and go to the x-axis constant line, click on it and then add a line. Now I can name this employee targets, and then I can give it a value. So this value now, I want to see who has crossed the 3 million threshold, right? So I bring in 3 million here, 00. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so now this is the 3 million target, okay? So I can make this also visible by changing the color and then also changing the width, right? So you can now see it just by looking at it. You can see who is performing above and below the 3 million threshold, right? So now let's keep on moving forward. So the next thing we want to do is want to identify trends in efficiency and profitability as the business grows. So we want to see the trends in efficiency and profitability. So when we talk about efficiency in sales, we're looking at profit margin. When we talk about profitability, we are looking at sales. Okay, so now I want to see we want to see the trends in efficiency and profitability. So we come back to our Power BI again. Now we want to build a line chart because we want to see the trends. We want to see how this efficiency and profitability has been growing and has been declining, or how it has been moving over time, right? So we bring in our line charts. So for these line charts here now, I want to see the trend in profitability, right? I want to see the sales that we've been making. I want to see the trends. Okay, so I want to see what the trends. So then what I'm going to do now is to bring in revenue, right? So bring in revenue to the y-axis, okay? Bring revenue to the y-axis, and then I bring in my dates. Remember, I have a date column here. So I bring in my dates now to the x-axis, right? So just by bringing in my date to the x-axis now, you can now see Power BI has been able to do all the hard stuff for us, right? So let me shift this a little bit so I can do the others, right? So from here now, you can see, let me just explain it so you understand. You can see overall, we are like on an upward trend. Even though it's ranging, it's kind of going upward. So you see that we are making more sales as the day goes by, we are making more sales, and as well, the business is doing fine. But now let's also look at the efficiency. Let's look at how efficient we've been as regards to our profits. So I'm just going to bring in the line chart again, right? So let me just fix this line chart just in between here. Let me make sure. Okay, so just in between here. Right. So now this is the line chart, and I want to do what? I want to see the efficiency. So I want to see the profit margin. So I bring in my profit margin to the y-axis, and then I bring in my date to the x-axis. So here now we can see our profit margin has been calculated for us. From here, this is the beauty of analysis, because from here you can already see sales are going up, but then the profit margin is also going down. So in as much as sales are going up, the profit margin is actually going down. So it's not all that good news for this particular organization, okay? But now, let's also look at so many other things. Let's now bring in our filters, okay? So let's bring in our filters. Let's say we want to filter by date or by department, right? So let me bring in a filter. So let me just bring in this first slicer. Now let me bring in a date. Okay, so to bring in the slicer, let me just do it again. So to bring in the slicer, you come over here also to this visualizations pane and then select this slicer. Okay, so select it. When you select it, you can now choose what slicer you want to add in here. Okay, so for this slicer, I want to bring in a date so that I can be able to filter my report or slice it by date or by department or whatever. So I bring in the dates here to the field, and then you can now see the slicer. I can arrange it a little bit and maybe just put it somewhere up here. Okay, let me just remove this slider. Okay, so quickly, let me just remove this slider so it's better, it's more visible. Good. So now it's looking okay. So the next thing I want to do also, let's say I want to slice this also by department. I bring another slicer, and then now I drag in the department into the fields. Now you might be wondering what this is doing, but I'm just going to show you. Just stick around and see where the magic happens. Okay, so in the next minute or so, I'm just going to see how all these things are automated and how all these things work in real time. Okay, so I bring in the slicer, and here I brought in the slicer for the department, and you can see the department here. And I want to change this slicer to how I want it to look. I want it to be like a drop down. So I go over here to this formatting of your visual. I go to the slicer setting. I go to the styles, and then I change it to a drop down. So I can now style this, just format it how you want it to look, and then you can just take it to where you want it to be. Okay, let's say I want it here. Right. Okay, so this is now looking good. So I have my slicer for dates, and I also have my slicer for departments. Now, this is where the fun part is. If you're able to do this, get this report to this stage, this is fully automated. This is what? Fully automated. Now, with Power BI, you don't have to worry about all the extra Excel stress of doing the report all over again, or presenting this report weekly or monthly, or all those manual reporting that I talked about in the slide. Okay, so here we don't need to do all these things. All you need to do is just refresh this data when new data comes in, and we are going to see only updated data. Now, let me show you what I mean by this. Okay, this is where the fun now starts. Now, if you go back to our slide, sorry, not our slide, to our data sets, you know that you have two data sets. This was the one that we connected, but this also is just a new data set that I just simulated to be able to show us what happens when new data comes into our data. Okay, so this is what I'm going to show you just now, right? So if you look at this data set, you can see that the day starts from 20th of February. Okay, the last data set was end in let me go back. The last data set ended at 19th of February, which was today, but this new data set starts from 20th. So we want to see what happens when new data comes in, because I know you might be asking that question. What if new data comes in? How does this automation work? How does it work? How do I do this? What do I do? Now, this is where the magic happens. Now, I'm going to simulate how and what happens when new data comes in, right? So now this is from 20th to the 31st of March. Okay, so from 20th to the 31st of March now. Let's now see what happens when this new data comes in. So I'm just going to go back to my Excel. Give me a moment. Let me go back to the first one. Okay, so this is my Excel. Yeah, this is the data that we are working with before. You can see this one ended in 19th of February. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy everything we have here to simulate what happens when new data comes in. Okay, I'm just going to copy everything that I have here and copy it. And then let me go to our old data set that is connected, and then let me paste in this data set. Okay, so now I've pasted it in. So now you can now see this data set is starting from 20th. Okay, but now our Power BI still has the data of 19th of February. Now, when new data comes in, you don't need to do any extra work when it comes to automating this Power BI. Okay, you don't need to do any extra work. Okay, you don't need to go back and start building reports again. You don't need to go back and start calculating things again. You don't need to go back and start doing all the manual processes that you have to do. All we need to do here is to just refresh this, and this is going to be reflected here. Now, what you are going to do now for me is watch what happens when I click on refresh. You see all these KPI cards, you see all this revenue, you see all these charts, you see everything that is here. The revenue here is 47 million. The profit is 13 million. The cost is 33 million. The profit margin is 28%, and the total employees is 10. Now, this is what we have in our old data. Now, new data has come in. So what do we do? How is it automated? Just come over here under the home tab and click on what? Refresh. Okay, so now see what happened, and let's watch what happened when I click on this refresh. So I'm going to click on it now, and let's see the magic. So I'm just going to click on refresh. It's doing this by another process. Okay, because I'm still here. Okay, of course. So I'm not going to close this. Okay, so I'm just going to close this, and then I'm just going to click on refresh again, right? So I'm just going to click on refresh, and then let's see what happens. So you see, new data has come in, everything is updated. From 47 million, we now have 82 million. From 13 million in profit, we now have 19 million. So everything has been updated, even from our total employees. From 10 employees, we now have 12 employees. So you can see how this works in real time. Now, let's say the organization or the manager or the stakeholder, or let's say the leadership now wants to ask you, okay, can I see what happened last week? This is not the time when you go back again to your Excel, or when you go back again to your old tool and start running helter-skelter and scrambling to get the report of last week. All you need to do is just come over here to the filter, and then you can now filter to a particular date. Okay, so I want to filter to let's say from 1st of January to last week, let's say March, let's just say 14th of March. Okay, so just click on it, and then your table is filtered. Okay, I can decide, oh, I want to see something, what happened from 1st of February till the 14th of February, or till today's day, which is 19th of February. Okay, so you can see how flexible our Power BI is. So you can see you don't need to do all the manual reporting of going back and forth with your manager or doing so many reports. All these things are automated. You only need to build these reports once, okay? Build these reports once, and everything now comes in very, very seamlessly and very, very easily, okay? And then also, let's say our manager wants to now see, can we see what happened in this particular department, in marketing department, or in operations department, and so on? You come over here, and you can also select your department, and you can see everything is filtered. Even the employees, even the total employees that are there, even the sales, even the profit margin, everything is filtered. Let's say I want to see from the marketing, I can see what happens in marketing. I can see what happens in sales, okay? And I can also see, you can just, this is so flexible and so easy to use. And that is what makes Power BI very instrumental. And this is how you eliminate all the manual reporting, how you automate your financial and employee performance reports seamlessly. Now, when the manager sees this or when the leadership sees this, it's easy to make decisions. And that is the best part of all this reporting. It's easy to follow up day to day what is happening. When tomorrow comes in and new data is added, all the manager needs to do is click on refresh, and he's going to get the present data that they are going to be working with. Okay, so when it goes on refresh, it's going to always give you the real-time data, what is happening now, what is happening today, what is happening right now in your data. Okay, and this is very helpful because managers can be able to use this to be able to spot trends, to be able to spot problems, to be able to understand what is happening in the organization without you having to wait till the month end or wait till the end of the week before you are being given a report or before you are being given a statement. You can be able to track all these things real time, and you can be able to fix problems easily, okay? Because when you are able to see what an employee that is not performing well or where the sales is not doing well, you can be able to act proactively instead of just being reactive to what has happened in the past, okay? So all these things are benefits of the automated reports. All these things are benefit of the automated reports, okay? So that's all that I have for today. So that's it. So what you've done today now, what you've done now is not just about learning the tools, okay? It's also about understanding how businesses think and also make decisions. So here today, we've seen how companies track money, how they measure performance, and how they spot problems early, and also how reports can update automatically when new data comes in, okay, without having to start everything from afresh. And now, know this, nothing we did here, nothing, not even any single thing that we did here requires a tech background for you, okay? You just clear thinking and just the right guidance, okay? This is exactly what companies are looking for. People who can turn data, people who can turn data into insights and explain them confidently, right? So if today really made things clearer for you, if you had fun watching and understanding how all these things work, then that is your sign to take the next action, okay? So the next step is now to learn this properly, to learn this step by step with real-time examples as well as support, okay? And that's what we do in our full program, okay? So I'm just going to allow Elizabeth to continue from where I stopped and now just show you the other things that you need to know. All right, so Elizabeth, are you there?
Thank you so much, Stanley. I feel like I can create a dashboard from this session. So just before Stanley goes, I want you to put in the chat if you enjoy this session. Let's just maybe put an emoji, give Stanley a thumbs up or, a clapping emoji, just to let him know that you have picked up one or two things, from this session. Thank you, Uchechi. I need at least one more person before it goes off. Okay? Thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you, Adiola. Fantastic. Now, this is just an example, once again, of, the kind of training that we offer here at 10Editech. So, Stanley, thank you so much. You can stop sharing your screen now. What Stanley just did today was show you how, with absolutely no background in tech, in less than 30 minutes, you can build a dashboard. That's just what he did. And again, I love what he said. You get actual guidance. You get to work on projects. Now, if you'd love to have someone like Stanley, at your beck and call, I'm going to use that word, at your beck and call. If you'd love to have someone like Stanley teach you, walk you through this process, then you want to stick around for, the next couple of things that I am going to be saying. But if we have people who are interested in financial analytics, I want you to put FA in the chat. And if you're interested in HR analytics, I want you to put HR in the chat. So let's go. Let's see who's going to win this round now. Financial analytics, put FA in the chats. HR analytics, you can put HR in the chats. Let me see. Okay, Uchechi says HR. Simon says, okay, Leo says FA. Fantastic. Soliu says FA. Okay, it looks like the FA guys are winning. Let's just keep it coming. And then I will move on to HR analytics. Now, just like FA, just like financial analytics, the HR is also equally as important, if not more. Okay, so for the people who don't even know where they fall yet, my colleagues will also be dropping a link to a very fun quiz that you can take to help you figure out if you fall, within HR or if you fall within FA. That's financial analytics. Now, very similar to the financial analytics program, the HR analyst is a type of data analyst that has decided to niche down into analyzing, human resources data, meaning you're analyzing the data of employees in your organization. And you can do basically what Stanley did as well. In 30 minutes, you can come up with an automation, a dashboard showing, recruitment tracking and so on and so forth. So you're going to also be learning everything that a data analyst would learn. And then we now take it a step further into, HR KPIs. How do you come up with KPIs for employees of your organization? How do you evaluate the performance? How do you carry out performance appraisals, for employees in the organization, whether you want to do it once a year, you want to do it quarterly, and so on and so forth. You'll also be taking a look at absenteeism and attrition metrics. How are you able to analyze the trends when it comes to attrition metrics? All right. How do you see or find out the root cause of why employees are leaving the organization? Why employees are resigning from the organization? You also learn compensation and pay equity analysis, collaboration and recruitment tracking automation, where you get to build dashboards, of course, as well as how to use human resource management system, HRMS. All right, every organization, uses an HRMS. You'll be learning how to use that. And of course, don't think that we have forgotten you. You will also learn how you can leverage AI in your role as an HR analyst. Now, the learning structure is the same. All right, you have the blended learning approach, the live classes, the drop-in sessions, Mondays to Fridays. You have the power to book when you would be available to have a discussion or a conversation with your facilitator if you need extra guidance. And then you also have the self-paced videos that you get to watch. And of course, the timeline for this program is 8 months in total as well. So you have 6 months of learning in class and then 2 months of internship. However, this does not mean that you have to wait 8 months in order for you to land a job. We've had participants who landed jobs 3 months, 4 months into the program. So in as much as the entire duration of the program is 8 months, it doesn't mean you have to wait 8 months to land a job. All right. So let us move on. Now, aside just learning with us here at 10 Analytics, you also be getting the unique opportunity, all right, to include 10 Analytics and Amdari on your CV. Amdari is our partner company in the UK. That's the organization that we partnered with to provide internship to our participants. So what this means is after learning with us for 6 months here at 10 Analytics, you don't have to do anything. Once you're done with your learning, we will move you into our partner organization in the UK to intern with them and, of course, to gain knowledge and experience in the field. All right. Now, you'll be able to add either 10 Analytics or Amdari on your CV and say that you consulted with us. Now, this also helps you to build a very credible profile when it comes to experience. All right. Now, I mentioned earlier that your technical skills are not enough. There is a simple formula if you're looking to land a job in 2026, whether it is a job that would offer you remote opportunities, hybrid opportunities, more flexibility, high-paying jobs, okay, more time for your kids, more time for yourself. Because as we grow older, we want to take back our time. We want to have more time for ourselves. Now, whether that's what you're looking for or you're looking for a job that will offer you visa sponsorship, I mentioned earlier, your technical skills is only half of it. It is not enough. Now, what you also need is the employability skill, which is what I talked about earlier, the packaging. It's a very simple formula. It's simple addition. It's your technical skills plus your employability skills. That is how you're able to get a job. Now, here at 10 Analytics, we offer 8 different employability services. We revamp your CV for you. So there's the CV review and revamp session. where we'll help you to revamp your CV and make it ATS friendly, just like I explained earlier. We'll also be teaching you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, how you can strategically position yourself for jobs so that in as much as you're out there applying to jobs, recruiters are also reaching out to you via LinkedIn. All right. Personally, in the past 3 years, I have not applied to a single job. This is exactly how I've been able to get jobs. Recruiters will reach out to me on LinkedIn to say, hey, we came across your profile. We're actually pretty excited, and would like to have a conversation with you if you are free. So how can that be you? We also have a lot of our participants that have landed jobs through this means. Imagine just going about your day-to-day activities, and you get a message on your phone, from your LinkedIn, and it's from someone you don't know. It's a top recruiter from a global firm, and they're telling you that they came across your profile. They're pretty impressed with what they're seeing, and they would like to have a conversation with you because they have an opening in their organization. Now, you did not even have to apply to the job. You simply have to show up for the interview. Now, what happens when you get a message like that? We are also available to prep you for that interview. You can book a one-on-one session with, professional just like Stanley or myself, and that person would prep you and tell you the likely questions you should expect during the interview and how you can answer these questions. That person will also show you how you can showcase your portfolio, which will be teaching you how to build during the course of the training. You also get to learn how to navigate the job market. You're just moving into, this is a new terrain for you. Whether you just immigrated, you just moved to a new country, or you've been in the country for a while, but you're trying to break into tech. Tech is a new terrain for you. So you need to learn from industry experts. How do you navigate the job market? How do you go ahead to land jobs, right? Whether you're in the UK, the US, or Canada. I already talked about interview preparatory sessions, so you will be prepped for any interview. It doesn't matter if you land 100 interviews, we are available to prep you 300 times for those interviews. Next, we also offer job reference or recommendation letters. This is how, even after your CV has been revamped, your LinkedIn has been optimized, you have had interviews with these organizations, and then you've impressed them, all right? Before you are able to secure the job, during the very last stage, just before you get your contract, you'll be asked to provide references. People who can vouch for you, people who can say, yes, Uchechi worked with us. Uchechi is a woman of integrity. Uchechi is who she says she is. People who can say, Jeddah worked with us. They are a person of integrity. They are who they say they are. All right. We are also here to provide you with a reference letter or a recommendation letter to help you secure that dream job. Now, number 6 is a service that is not very, very common, but it's something we offer nonetheless. All right, because a lot of our participants, after spending 8 months with us, they don't need on-the-job support. But if you land a job during the course of the training, all right, your first month during the job, of course, you're an absolute beginner and you're struggling to execute some tasks on the job, we are also here for you. You can book a one-on-one session with a facilitator here at Analytics, and that person will provide guidance on how you can execute that task on your job. We also offer mentorship sessions, weekly mentorship sessions, as well as Upwork optimization sessions for people who are interested in freelancing. Now, this is just a snapshot of the job tracker that we also provide to our participants. Now, every single month, we pay to get access to premium jobs. We pay money for that every single month. All right, hundreds and hundreds of dollars are spent on getting access to premium jobs every month. And we do that so you don't have to pay. Now, what we do is we scrape all of these job boards on a weekly basis. Now, these are jobs that are not available on, free platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, and so on and so forth. We pay for them, and then we send them to you to apply to. So we send you the job title, the name of the company, the job location, if the job is remote or if it is hybrid or if it is on site, if the job offers sponsorship. We're sending all of that to you, and then the link. All you have to do here is you just have to click on the link attached and then go ahead to apply. Now, you can also see the mentorship session. You have lifetime access to all the sessions, all the materials that are used for mentorship, as well as the video recordings of these sessions. Okay, Analytics is accredited by the American Council of Training and Development. So you will be getting a certificate of completion that is globally recognized after your program with us. Now, what are the next steps? How do you get started? What should you do right now, tonight, in order for you to thrive in 2026? All you have to do is join our next cohort starting on the 7th of March, 2026. Now, these two programs are priced at $1,250 each. However, I have a special opportunity for just 10 people listening to me today. I have more than 10 people on the call, so it's really just, the fastest horse is the one that is going to win this race. Now, just 10 people get to pay $1,000 instead, and you are able to pay in installments. All right, you don't have to pay all at once. You're able to split your payments for as many as 5 times, just 10 people. What that means is if you are the 11th person to make payment, you will be paying $1,250. Now, outside of that, right, I also have an additional bonus. Now, this one is not for everybody. This one is for the people who are able to register tonight. If you register tonight, what happens to you is you skip to the front line of your class. Now, I'm going to explain what I mean by that. The next class starts on the 7th of March. And if you don't want to go for the March class, you can go for the class that starts on the 11th of April. Now, what that means is before you can get access, if you register for the class that starts on the 7th of March, for example, before you can get access, and to mentorship, to, everything that you need, you have to wait till the 7th of March to start. But if you are able to register today from this session, all right, there's some additional perks that you get. For example, we have something called the Founder Circle, which we only do 2 times in a year. All right. Now, what happens in the Founder Circle is there's a dedicated group of individuals, special, exclusive individuals that get exclusive access, direct access to the founders of 10Analytics to mentor them. The founders of 10Analytics, Efemena April and Adeza Suleiman, would be working hand in hand with you. They'll provide you with a personalized transition roadmap. They'll have personalized conversations with you and, provide you with a roadmap that would help you transition from what you're currently doing right now to where you want to be. How do you go from point A to point B? How do you increase your earning power? How do you land that remote job that you're looking for? You're going to be getting that personalized guidance directly from the founders. They'll also be providing you with tailored guides on jobs to apply to, where to find the jobs, and how to apply to the jobs. Again, this is only open to people who register today. What this means is if you register tomorrow, you would not be eligible for this. Now, aside the getting access to the founders, you also get immediate access to weekly mentorship. So you don't have to wait till March or April when you're starting your class to start getting mentored. You can start getting mentored right now. You get early access to mentorship sessions. You're able to learn from industry experts. You're able to learn from global recruiters that will bring back to the classroom to speak to you. You're able to learn from people like yourself who have taken the training and landed jobs. You're able to ask them questions. What did you do? That helped you land a job 2 months or 3 months into the training so that you can also, embody it, right? You also get to start practicing how to answer interview questions, different frameworks. Again, this is you skipping to the front of the class. Now, what it means is that while others are waiting for their class to start, you are already learning. It gives you a head start, especially in this competitive global market. All right. For people who are interested in UK Global Talent visas, you'll also be getting insider knowledge, all right, for free. Now, this is something that we usually charge for. This is something that people pay thousands of, pounds to get. You will be getting it for free if you're able to register today, right? You also get a reference letter that will help you to back up your submission for the UK Global Talent visa. And finally, of course, lifetime access to us. We're always ready for you whenever the opportunity arises. Lifetime interview prep. So even if you land a job in 2026 and we prep you for the interview, and then in 2027 you want to move to a new job, or in 2028 you want to move to a new job and you get another interview, you can always come back to us here at 10Analytics and we will prep you for that interview. You have lifetime access to interview preparatory sessions, and you also have lifetime access to mentorship as well as reference letters. You never need to navigate your career alone ever again. This is only available to people who register today. Now, let me walk you through the registration. My colleagues would have already been dropping the links to registration in the chat. Again, I said just 10 people. I only have 10 slots. 10 people on this session right now will get to pay a discount. Now, once you click on the link that my colleagues have dropped in the chat, you would immediately see a list of all the programs that we offer. What you want to do is you want to identify your program of interest, whether it is financial analytics, which is the third one on the list, or it is HR analytics, which is the fourth one on the list. So you just want to pick which one you're interested in. If you're interested in financial analytics, you click on buy now for financial analytics. And if you're interested in HR analytics, you click on buy now for HR analytics. So let's use financial analytics. Now, once you click on buy now, it opens up the program description. You're able to see absolutely everything that you need to know about this program, the minimum number of projects that you get to work on in this program. All right. You're able to look at the curriculum, the course description, able to see what you'll be learning on a weekly basis. You see how we are going to teach you how to build a portfolio, how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, introduction to financial analytics, introduction to data analytics, introduction to Excel. Like I said, we're taking it from the basics. So you don't have to worry, even if you don't have a background in tech, you don't know how to use Excel, you don't have to worry at all because we're going to be teaching you right from the very beginning. So you can take your time and go through the curriculum. And then right here, you see this button that says enroll now. You want to click on the button that says enroll now and you'll be prompted to create a free account with us. It's literally going to take you less than 1 minute. We just need your full name, your email address, and your phone number. Once you create your account, you'll then be able to select which class you'd like to join. Would you like to join the March class or would you like to join the April class? The choice is yours. All right, so all you have to do is select which one you'd like to join, if you want to join the March class or the April class. And once you do that, you have a payment plan available. Now, there's a currency selector right here that helps you select the currency you want to pay in. So if you want to pay in USD, if you want to pay in Canadian dollars, if you want to pay in pounds, if you want to pay in euros, if you want to pay in Naira, and so on and so forth. All right, so I'm just going to walk you through the pricing using USD. Now, depending on the payment plan that you choose, because we have 3 different payment plans, you are able to save a little more. So if you go for the all at once payments, meaning you want to pay everything all at once to start your classes, you'll be paying $850. If you want to pay 2 times, you'll be paying a sum total of $900. And if you want to pay 5 times, you'll be paying a sum total of $1,000. So depending on which payment plan is, more convenient for you, you just want to select that. What it means is that in order for you to start your classes on the 7th of March, in order for you to get access to the founder circle, access to mentorship, to start learning and all of that, all you need is a minimum deposit of $200 or 153 pounds. You just need a deposit of $200 or 153 pounds, and you start getting mentorship immediately. That's just what it means. So just select the payment plan that best suits you, click on apply discounts, and then proceed to confirm your information on the next screen, and then confirm that your information is correct, confirm that you have read the terms and conditions, and you can pay using your local card. You can pay using your card. Just pay in your local currency. You don't have to worry about converting your funds. Again, I need you to remember, Solio says he has to drive. Can you send the link to him? Someone please reach out to Solio and send the link to him. Very important. I can see 4 payments have come in. So we no longer have 10 slots left. We now have 6 slots left. So again, this is not slow and steady anymore. All right. So only 6 people, the next 6 people to make payments would have access to, of course, the discounts as well as the other bonuses that I mentioned. So does anyone have any questions just before I wrap up this session? I still see some payments coming in. So people are clicking on the link. Now, my colleague has already dropped the link to the attendance form as well as the link to make payments for this session already. So what you just need to do is click on the link to secure your spots. And once you click on that link, you will be able to make payments or register for your program. Now, Isaac, you're asking for business analysis. Like I said, once you get the link, once you click on that link, you will be able to see a list of all the programs that we offer, Isaac. So let me just show you what that looks like. Isaac Lewis. So you just want to click on that link and go ahead to select the business analysis program, which is the second one on the list. So instead of you going for financial analytics or HR analytics, you want to select business analysis, click on buy now, and follow the process I just explained. Now we have 4 slots left. 2 more people have made payments. So again, the next 4 people to make payments, you get exclusive access to the founders, and you also get to save at least $250 US. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. I hope you picked 1 or 2 things from this session, and I hope you are able to get in with the remaining 4 people. Okay. If you have not made payments already, go ahead to just secure your spots with at least the minimum deposit. And then we will see you in class on the 7th of March or on the 11th of April. Please enjoy the rest of your day.